We're so excited to see you. It's the coolest thing on this grid view when there are so many of you that it just looks like a bunch of little red mic dots. So it's so fun to see everyone filing into this digital meeting. This is kind of becoming our new now with all of this virtual stuff. So we are excited that you're with us today, and we're excited to answer your questions. So everything in today's session is coming from questions that were put on our shared doc by teachers all throughout the district. If you have questions during this session, we would love you to ask those in the chat. In the chat box. Christy is going to be monitoring the chat line over there. Yes. So she'll let us know if there's anything that's happening there. We're going to go ahead and start by talking about the questions that were submitted, just to kind of get us going.
Hey Jen, real fast. Jennifer, will you, I just want to let people know that I am here even though they can't see me.
Okay. I'm going to do it up there. All right. Sorry, still learning all of this.
Hey, Jen, can you hear me? It's Maggie.
Blanking out for some reason.
I can hear you, Maggie.
Okay. They just can't.
Okay.
Hey, Jennifer, it's Maggie. Can you hear me?
We can be getting it up. Looks like we've got lots of people in this share doc, which is awesome. But it's just, so the bit.ly bit.ly, that's a little bit hard to see with that cursor in there, and then /curriculum buzz. You've got to use the right capitalization. You can access this document. These are the questions that were submitted. This is the document you have access to that came to you at your email if you want to access it that way. As we answer these questions and provide resources, we'll be pasting the answers and links underneath these questions so that you have access to the links and resources that we're providing. So this will be the landing spot for this meeting and where you can gather all of the links and things that are happening. We wanted to start with a little message too for all of you amazing folks. This is just something little that I put together last night because I kind of wasn't understanding how I was feeling with the announcement of school being in soft closure for the rest of the year.
Even though we were anticipating it, when it was real, it was sad.
Yeah, and that feeling for me was almost grief. So this is what I put together, is that we're grieving, right, for the school year that we thought we'd have. But like our state superintendent said, in her address yesterday, we're committing to the new now, right? It's not the new normal, because this is not going to be our new normal, but this is our now. And my thought on that was, this is a historic time. It's a time in our history we're going to look back on and remember, and we need to make it positively unforgettable. Not just unforgettable, but positively unforgettable. And we can do that. We can do that by serving each other and helping our students and one another in the next coming weeks.
And just a quick shout out to Maggie Huddleston, our other curriculum person, who is on here with us too from her home. So thanks, Maggie.
I know we have directors here, we have tech folks here, so we have lots of our amazing curriculum fellows here too. So thank you everyone for your support as always. So go ahead and start with the first question that was submitted. Again, if you have additional questions, we'd love to hit on those. Just put them in the chat room and we'll get to it. What are the most important things I should be doing right now? This came from a teacher who has already watched our previous buzz sessions, but like many of us, I think is just feeling overwhelmed. So if we're to boil it down to the things that you should be focusing on, we have the 7 questions we addressed in our last buzz session, but we've kind of boiled it down to these 5 things. I don't know, do you want to put that link in there so that we can look at that? Yeah, we will send this out so you can have it and see it with much more clarity. But these are the things at the most simple form that we are hoping that you are focusing right now on. Number 1, checking in with students and families. That means building relationships with them, ensuring that their mental health needs are being addressed, and ensuring that they have access. So we know that we have teachers, in talking with a group of fellows yesterday, we have teachers who have many students in their classroom who they have reached out to in many different ways, and they're feeling stressed that they don't have 100% participation. And at the other end of the spectrum, we have teachers who haven't been sure how to even start doing this yet. So whatever checking in your preferred way with your students means to you, let's do that. Let's make sure that we are making sure that students have those three things: a relationship with us, their mental health needs addressed, and access to what they need to be learning. The next thing is teaching. Teaching, and just feel free to weigh in, but teaching is different. Teaching also has a new now, right? But teaching means moving the learning forward. That's going to be at a slower pace, and in a different way than it would be in a classroom, but it's also more than simply sending assignments out to students. So teaching is the second thing we're asking you to focus on.
And keep in mind those essential skills. So keep it simple, keep it focused on those essential skills.
The third thing I need to be thinking about every day as a teacher is organizing. I think this is probably the biggest barrier to teaching remotely, is just not knowing how to access things, what's been assigned, how my teacher's communicating with me. So our statement here is that teachers should organize learning experiences to make them easy for students and families to access and complete. Teachers should aim to have one landing place where students can access all that they will need, whether that is a daily email that you're sending at this point, whether that's Google Classroom or Canvas or a daily slide deck, whatever that is, it should be kind of a one-stop shopping spot for parents and teachers, where they know or students, so they know where to go. This next one I know is the most important to our superintendent, and it's focusing on feedback. So time should be spent providing students with frequent feedback for learning based on formative assessments. So that's feedback for learning, right? Not feedback on their learning. Instead of focusing on grading. Grading is taking a backseat at this point. So true feedback is two-way communication that moves students' learning forward. So there is that, and we're going to have some fellows later on share some tips on how they've done that. And then the fifth one is just ensuring support and enrichment. Do you want to speak to this?
So with that, we know that we have many students who are not performing at grade level and struggle. And so if we're just sending out grade level material and expecting them to do it at home, they're going to struggle at home too. And they're going to be frustrated. Parents are going to be frustrated. So keep that in mind. I know it's kind of hard when they're not right there in front of us. When they're in our classroom, we can sense their frustration. We can see sometimes those tears and that, but when they're in their home, we're not able to see that in person. So keep that in mind. Who were your students that struggled, and what can I give them that will help in their learning that will not frustrate them? This is a perfect opportunity to do some individualized teaching for those students. So keep that in mind. And then, we have students who are home all day and don't have a lot to do, who do need some enrichment activities. We want to provide some of those things for them, and just make sure we're marking those as optional, so that those students who are having a hard time getting on devices or having a hard time spending certain times of the day, and time is limited, resources are limited, that they're not feeling overwhelmed, but they're optional.
And Chrissy, I kind of think of this as a hierarchy too. I mean, number one thing, I'm checking and making sure those kids are okay. Number two, I'm trying to teach appropriately in this setting something that's essential and will help them, right? Then beyond that, I'm organizing that, I'm giving feedback, and then lastly, I'm making sure that I've done these things. So if you're not sure where to start, I know we have teachers who this was a short-term thing, and now it's not. So if you're just getting started, start with those kids, right? And then start with figuring out how to get some teaching happening. All right.
Really, the superintendent said it really nicely this morning. In 20 years, what are we going to remember about this experience? And so I think that's an important thing for teachers to keep in the back of their minds.
What do we remember about our school years in general? We remember those teachers who cared and made things memorable for us. Okay, question number 2 that was submitted. Do anything happening in the chat room?
Somebody's asked if these will be recorded and sent out, and that was not our intent with these. These are just kind of live chat sessions. We don't want to overwhelm everybody with a million videos to watch. Nobody has time to do that. So hopefully you can just join in, or if you have something you're doing, you can listen while you're working.
But the documents will be shared with all the resources.
Right. And I did click record. We just don't want to give you the assignment to listen to us for long periods of time. I did just in case. So, okay, we've had a question about how to access an example Google Classroom and or resources. We have some awesome curriculum fellows who have been very vulnerable and daring with this and are opening up their Google Classrooms to you for 2 purposes. As you can see, Christy just pasted that in there. There's a couple that are not linked. They will be in the next couple of hours as I continue to get with these teachers. They were kind enough to just kind of do this last minute, but these are examples of those 5 things that we just said. How to organize a classroom, how to teach in there, how to connect with students. So if you're there will be one for each grade level. So if you're just looking for ideas, it would be awesome for you to peruse through these example classrooms. If you are not sure at all what teaching digitally looks like, you could go in and even copy the content that these teachers have put up there. They're more than willing for you to do that, which is amazing. They continue to amaze me every single day. I have linked in here on this document, if you're following along, some examples, so you don't have to have full access to their classroom to see all of their amazingness. So we went through the 1st grade classroom that Tammy Jones has designed during our last buzz session, so I won't click there, but if you click on the example lesson, it shows you how she has organized for 1st graders a slide deck every day. And they go through and fill that out, and that's it. That's their lesson for the day. And they know everything's right there. Our 2nd grade classroom is coming. Our 3rd grade classroom is organized in a very similar way. Mackenzie Haas has put that together, who's also an awesome ed tech coach. I've linked an example lesson here for her that she's done. She also has moved to just using a slide deck every day to assign everything in it. You'll notice in these classrooms, these teachers have been through a learning process. They did not start with this awesome organization. They figured it out like the rest of us are figuring it out. So if you dig deep into these classrooms, you'll see, I know Mackenzie just moved to this slide deck option probably a couple of days ago from a different version. And she's up to talking with you if you are wanting to know why she's organizing that way. So, and Mackenzie, if you're on, is there anything you want to add to that?
I'm here. Can you guys hear me?
It totally just put her on the spot. But if you have a mic later or you want to chime in on the chat,
No. Can you hear me? I'm good.
We've got another 3rd grade classroom that is organized a little bit differently. This classroom is organized by day. So in this classroom, the classwork tab is every day is a topic, and then the assignments are underneath. That's what works for Emily. She also does fun video announcements that tells kids every day what they need to be doing. So if you want full access to any of these classes to check them out, you just need to email these teachers or me directly, and we can give you access to that. 4th grade, we've got Monica Whittison's classroom that we went through in our previous buzz session. I don't think that copied all the way over.
We can hear anyone. Maggie was texting me the same thing. They can hear each other, but we can't hear them.
But we can't hear them.
Maybe.
Turn on our speaker.
Okay.
Can you hear us now, Jen?
You need to turn your speaker on because you can't hear us.
Okay, Mav, you want to test that out for us?
Yep. Can you hear me now?
See if we can hear you now.
Nope. You still can't. Of course, they don't know that they can't because they can't hear me.
No, because you're in present mode session. I don't think
Oh, Jen, your speaker was off. See that X right there?
Yeah, but it looks like.
There you go.
Okay.
Maybe that will work.
Oh, now we can hear. Okay, so
Can you hear
who?
us now?
Yes.
Oh, yay. Okay. Mary, I'm calling you, but you can ignore me.
No. Okay, so who did we miss? Because that's the purpose of this too, is to be interacting. I know I'd asked Mackenzie to talk if she wanted. I don't know if she's here.
Yeah, I'm here,
Awesome.
but they couldn't hear me. So, with my Google Classroom, like Jen said, it was definitely a learning thing. So that's why I left everything on there so that you could see kind of how I started it and to what it's evolved into now, because you've got to change it. If you learn as you go that things just aren't working for your kids. And I've had so many parents tell me, thank you for being willing to keep trying different things because it was just not working. So you got to keep with it. That's all I can tell you.
Awesome. Yeah, I noticed you had it split by different assignments and then went to just putting it in one place. So that's awesome. I know we're all changing and working. Thanks for letting us do that process. Okay.
Jen, this is Emily.
Perfect. We're up to your class.
Oh, great. Okay. I was just going to say, like, I'm currently evolving to the slide presentation, and mine is still under days, but I'm also, because I want them to see that daily video announcement. And if you guys look at that announcement, just know they've been getting better. So that one's kind of a rough one. I haven't updated the copy of my classroom yet with the new ones, but it's been a cool way for me to also interact with my students because I have them sending me places that they would like me to present from around the world. And so I kind of do those video announcements based on their requests. And then my goal is to get my required assignments or my ones I really want them to focus on in the Google slide format like Mackenzie, and then all those extension or extra ones will be separate from those. So when they submit their assignments to me, it will be that they're required to do. It will be one assignment, one document that I can go back and forth with feedback, and then those extra ones, I'm not so necessarily like worried about if everybody turns those in or getting feedback on those little things. So that's kind of how my new mind frame is for organizing my, I'm still going to do it by day, but I'm going to do it a little bit differently within those days.
Jen, there's a great question here I'm going to throw out from Trisha Nelson. Has anybody come up with a daily or weekly feedback resource for parents that they would be willing to share or explain? So it is important to get feedback from parents. You know, they're in this as well. So how are you guys getting feedback from parents? Yeah.
One thing a teacher of this child, our house did, was just sent me, it was a Google form, and it said, how long is it taking you to complete this? How long is it taking you to complete this? Because, and that was really nice for me to say, you know what, you probably don't realize that this is taking my child 2 hours to do. You're thinking that it's just a quick thing, but these are our barriers. So I thought that was a great idea.
Great. Emails, calls, texts.
there was a survey sent out.
Survey, like a form probably. I think that is so great because parents are feeling overwhelmed. They want to do a good job. They want to do what's right for their kids. So having that communication with them is very important.
Awesome. Okay, we'll keep watching the chat, and I'm glad we can hear you now. I'm so sorry about that. I'm glad you said something. The fourth grade classroom we showed in our last buzz session, which is completely awesome. So there's that link to the check-in, which I know was pretty popular, a link to her daily overview that she does, and a link to her accountability questions. Now, I thought this was awesome because when you assign something in Google Classroom that's outside of Google Classroom, so let's say I'm assigning a Zern lesson, kids just have to mark it done, and you see it's done unless you've gone into, you know, Zern to see that they've actually done it. And Monica's kind of taken a spin on this, so this is just a snip that I took out of her classroom. But it says, like when you've completed it, go ahead and answer, you know, click yes or no. So now students have a way for her to see in Google Classroom that that's done and to mark it off. I know that it's aggravating for kids to be going through Google Classroom and not be able to gray something out to show that they're done with it. And so she's handled that in this way by just asking an accountability question. So awesome tip, because then you can use those assignments within Google Classroom as kind of a mark for students of what they have and haven't done. The 5th grade classroom is coming, and then the 6th grade classroom we also highlighted. I want to show again, Stephanie does a different mental health check-in every day for her students. Title I school, so especially important, but this is a snip from her classroom that shows, and she changes up this question every day so that it's not exactly the same. So this is today's question after the announcement yesterday that will be in the soft closure. And so the students just have a little, it's an actual question you add to your Google Classroom, and they just click either I'm great, I'm sad, but okay, or I'm struggling. And then she can follow up appropriately with the information she gets back. Quick for students, they don't have to type anything in. So. All right, any other questions on those example classrooms? Go ahead and put them in the chat and we can circle back to that. Emily Farr is going to take 3 minutes really quick to show us how she's using the new Meet integration in her classroom.
Okay, Jen, do you want me to present, or how do you want me to show that?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Let me stop presenting.
All right.
Can you take it over, or do I have to stop? She took it over? Okay.
I can do it. Okay.
Do I have to turn off my presenting?
No, yours should be good. Okay, give me a second. Okay, so something that I have done in my classroom that's helped me connect with my kids every week is I have a day where we spend 45 minutes talking to each other and just meeting up. And so what I have done in my classroom is I have created a topic called Google Meet. And in this topic,
Emily, just a minute, I'm going to stop you, Emily. We're not seeing your screen, so let's figure out how we're doing that.
Alrighty.
We're still seeing Jen's.
You're still seeing Jen's. Okay.
The teachers are seeing it. I just can't see it.
Oh, I know.
Okay. So you're seeing mine? Okay. All right. Let me know when you want me to go forward.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. So on this, what I do is I just have this one, I have it as a material. And so what I have done is when I view the material, I just type in like the next day, the next time we're going to have the meeting, the time frame that we're going to have it, and some rules like when you join, because with Google Meet, it doesn't automatically mute you. And so I always say, make sure that when you join, you mute your mic so only 1 or 2 people are talking at a time, basically. So we could just kind of have some structure, because the first time I got in with everybody, it was like, holy Hannah, 1,000 people so excited to see each other. It was so loud. I had to end up muting everybody so they could know I was trying to talk to them. So that was one thing that I tried to do. Now, this last weekend, so far what I would do is I would go to Meet and I would create a new meeting app, and then I would post the link in my assignment when it came time for me to have that meeting, because I didn't want my kid, if you email out a link for your Google Meet, it is live the entire time they have that link. And so I didn't want them to keep that email from me and then be able to get in that meet without me knowing about it and being there to monitor what was happening. And so the way I decided to do it was to do it on my classwork stream. And so I just go to that material and I click, well, I'm going to go show you how to do it first. So so anyways, I add that in there. But what is really cool about Google Meet is this last weekend, they did an update so it integrates directly into our classroom. So if you go to the classroom you want to upload your Google Meet link into, you go over not to all of your settings, but you go into the specific class setting, and then you scroll down and you will notice that they have integrated the Meet option right here. So on here, there's a couple choices. Instead of creating a new link every time you want to have a meet, it will generate a link just for your classroom. So when it comes time for me to copy that link and to start my chat with my students, I just hit that down arrow, hit copy, and then I go back to my classwork and I upload it to, I edit my assignment, and I just, whoops, sorry. I edit my assignment and I just add the link here, and then my kids can get in as soon as I save that. So when it's time for me to have a link, I don't have to invite my students individually. I don't have to send out a link. They just come to our classwork tab and click the link, and then they're in it. And it's so slick. And then I stay in it when we end our meeting. I say, okay, it's so nice to see you. And then I make sure everybody's gone. And when everybody's gone, I come into the assignment, I edit it, I delete the link, and then I know it's closed and nobody's in that chat without me. So that's how I run my weekly, chats. The other thing that they integrated into Google Classroom is, if you go into the setting, is they have this visible to students. If you click this, what that will do, and you hit save in your settings, what that will do is, and when you go to your classwork tab, it will automatically at the very top give you a Meet link. Now, my caution with that is, as long as you have that Meet link on there, they can get into a Meet whenever they want to in your classroom. So if you're there and you can monitor it, then that's great. But I don't have that active in my classroom because I'm not always in my classroom, and I don't want them in there without me. So anyways, those are just a couple cool things that they integrated into Google Classroom this last week. So
awesome. Thanks so much, Emily. And I know I see Sandy's put some things in the chat, and I know there's been some questions on recording with the Meet in Classroom. So it sounds, I think they're still working on some things after that integration. Yeah. So if you see, some funky things happening, it could be because you're using it inside of Classroom. The tech sessions that are held every day from 10 to 11 are a great place to ask those tech type questions if it doesn't seem to be working how you would expect it to be working.
So Ryan James has a comment in there. Ryan, do you want to pipe in?
Yeah, there you go. Can you? So that should be fixed. We've been testing that out. The recording and some of those other features should be fixed. However, when it originally creates that link, if you created that link a few days ago, it generated that link. We found that feature wasn't rolling in. So if you're having issues with that, the Google Classroom created Meet, and there still may be some issues, but if you're having can't record or can't do some of the things you'd like to do, go into your settings and reset that link, and that may fix it.
Well, thanks, Ryan. And thanks, Emily, for the teacher tips of, okay, now this tech's available, what happens when I use it? So thank you for testing some of that out for us and sharing that with us. That's awesome. There's a link that we just put in the notes for this, if you're with us on those notes, that take you to the training from Google about how to use the Meets for Education option. So there's lots of, it's their training manual. It has lots of good tech type of stuff in there. So next we had a question, are there official guidelines for using Google Meets and chats? So we've put together a document that has been shared with Tech, and Tech, please chime in here if we're not on target. We went through this together a couple of days ago and talked about this verbally, but please let us know if there's something that's not jiving for you as we talk through this. Sorry, Christy.
We didn't change the order on this.
Oh, sorry. I'm making Christy do all the pasting and copying and pasting. Sorry.
We're in different orders now, so okay.
Popping up there. Okay. Now this question actually came from a principal and from a teacher, so we can go ahead and just kind of start talking. Let's start Google Chats. So Google, and it's called, everything is Google Hangouts, and then it's either Google Hangouts Meet or Google Hangouts Chat, which I know everyone keeps getting confusing. So for right now, I'm just going to call it Google Meets and Google Chats. So Google Chats are like just texting. Think of it like we jabber back and forth within our district. The Google Chats are chats that you can set up with your whole class, with small groups of students, or one-on-one. The direction and policy at this point is that Google Chats can be used one-on-one with a student. And the reason for that is because everything is logged. It's completely safe because whatever is happening in there is logged. Now, sorry, do you have that link? It's not working?
Okay. No, it's not in our other document.
It's not in our other document. Let's see if I can find it. I just don't want to, on this one especially. Talk out of turn. Okay, here we go.
Oh, there it is. Sorry.
Do you see it? Okay, yeah. Sorry. I can open it up and pop it over here.
Oh,
here we go. We will get that linked in so you can get to it too. So there is that option to interact one-on-one with a student to help them. Teachers may choose to open up a group chat at certain times for all class members, or have certain office hours when they're available. Like Emily just pointed out, if we open that up, we need to be monitoring that if we have, if we do it for our class, because they can be interacting with each other. It is monitored, but you'd hate for something that you opened up to be a place where something undesirable happened or students interacted inappropriately. So it's always, the second bullet is preferable that parents know about the chats before they take place. That just keeps everything out in the open of, hey, your child has asked me for help on this math homework. We'll chat about this tomorrow at 10 o'clock or something like that. We recognize too that having instant feedback is super important, but especially in elementary, if there's a chat that opens, it's great that it's always preferable that another person is there, or and that a parent knows about it.
I just thought of something, and I don't know. I mean, if you could open up a chat for parents, right? And you could give them a link to join a chat group for parents, so that if parents have questions, would that maybe be?
Tech might need to help us. I think they have to have our district login. Okay, to be able to do it. So I think it would just be for students.
I just thought a running feed of questions would be great, because a lot of parents have the same questions, but maybe that's not the format to do that. So.
Well, and I know several of the math fellows have these, and they feel great leaving them open, from 8 to 1 when they're working every day, because they've set up some ground rules for students and they just answer questions as soon as students need them. So that's a great way. So policy as far as Google Hangouts Meet. So what are Meets? The only difference between these and the chat is that they also include video. So we're on a Meet right now. We have the chat going on. We have the video going on. The chat is logged, so it is safe. The video is not. So the recommendations and policies here are a little bit different. It's always encouraged that if you're having a meet as a teacher, that you record that. Then we don't have any problems at all. You can set up a class or a small group meet. These should always be optional for students. We have to be aware that not all students can log on. But again, if you're recording that, you can post it later so that students don't miss out. That's kind of making it a synchronous option and an asynchronous option. A class or small group meet must include a teacher and at least 3 students. That way we have, multiple people there, multiple eyes on the situation, because the video isn't being recorded. When we do one-on-one meets, and this has mostly come up with support professionals who are maybe doing special ed support, or a teacher who's helping a student with one very specific thing and providing scaffolding. These should always be scheduled in advance. They shouldn't just happen in an immediate situation, and the student's parents should be notified prior to the meet. Just better for everyone, just better for everyone. Also, one-on-one meets should include the teacher, the student, and at least one other adult. Preferably that other adult is the child's parent. That's best case scenario. If that is just not possible and we're really trying to reach that child, it needs to be the teacher, the student, and another teacher who attended the meet, so that we have at least that many people there and the two teachers there. Check if there's anything that I need to add to that. Yeah, please go ahead and chime in. We'll leave it open for just a minute. Okay, there's a link at the bottom of that again is a link to the Google training of how to start a meet and get for education specifically. So that's another good resource if you haven't tried out doing a meet yet.
Okay, so our next question is how to support SPED and EL students during this time. And we mentioned that up front a bit, that these students might be getting frustrated with grade level material that's being sent out if there isn't any support or scaffolding provided. So just be highly aware of those students in your classrooms. With our EL students, the curriculum that we're using during this time is the Imagine Learning. So make sure that they're logging in and getting that language development through Imagine Learning. Your EL paras and teachers are monitoring that and doing their best to make sure kids are logging into that program. Jen and I and the curriculum department have met with SPED yesterday with Maggie and Sherry, and just having some conversations of how we can support those students as well. So just be highly aware of those students at this time. Those support professionals are reaching out and checking in with parents to make sure that they're able to access the curriculum and what supports they need. But having you reach out as well and working hand in hand with those support professionals will be very helpful during this time. So
their direction from special education is that they should be, reaching out to you weekly. So the more that you can help facilitate that and be open to that, the better our support can be for these students. I just had a thought too, as we kind of think about this that we talked about in the beginning. Our special ed teachers, our EL teachers, all of our support staff, their main focus right now is number one, checking in with students and making sure they have those three things. They will be moving to number 5, making sure that they're helping you and that student have the support that they need now that this is a little bit more long-term. All right, a couple of, again, more techie questions. It is so hard right now to divide curriculum from tech because everything is both all the time. So this is a question that a teacher posted in here is, how do I get that video to embed into Google Slides? It's great if you're making a Google slide deck to not have a link that they have to click on and then have YouTube open. If you can just embed it and have it working right there. There's a couple examples of that exact thing. If you go up above to Tammy Jones and Mackenzie Hawes example lessons right here, they both have video embedded right in there that plays right in the slideshow. So this is how you do it. This is just taken directly from the Google training site. So if you click here, you can get to the full thing. But really all you do in Google Slides is you just open a presentation and then you insert video, and then you have to have your video in a location. I'm going to go here and do a new slide here. So I just go to insert and then I go to video, and then I need to either have the YouTube link or I need to have the video downloaded to my Google Drive so that I can choose this option and insert it. And if you do it through this way, and then go ahead and select the video that comes up and insert it. It should be embedded right into your Google Slides, and then once it's in here, you can size it and manipulate it and work with it that way. So again, the link to that tutorial is right here. How are we doing on the chat?
Okay, let me go back
Questions
and
over
forth.
there?
I'm going back.
Sorry, Chrissy's got a million jobs here.
No new questions, and Brant just put in a link for the Google training site. So lots of tools there and training. That's a great website.
Yes, training.wsd.net. If you have not heard them talk about that site, it is great. It has tons of great things. Brent, if it has a link to exactly how to do this that someone's made, that would be awesome if you put that in the chat, and then we'll add it to this document. All right, this other tutorial is actually straight from training.wsd.net. The question from a teacher was how to put something that we made in WeVideo on YouTube. So Ryan James has an awesome tutorial here that he made in the last couple of weeks that's uploading a file to YouTube. So basically how to get your video up there. There is another training video underneath that shows you how to directly to export directly to YouTube when you download from WeVideo. When you do your export options in WeVideo, right before you click to completely export it, it asks you where you want to export it, and you can export it directly to YouTube.
Diane shared in the link, and this is great, Diane, that Lisa Gilstrap, that you can, if you put your link into safeyoutube.net, then the students won't see any ads.
Oh, okay. I don't know how that exactly works. So
she's got a link there.
Okay,
that does that.
Perfect. Ryan, this is your tutorial. Probably a better question for you. Do you have any advice for teachers trying to do this?
What I would say, it's pretty easy. One of the things is it seems a little strange if you're doing the export directly to YouTube from WeVideo. Do you mind if I present really quickly?
Oh, that'd be awesome. Thank you.
If I don't lose everything here. Hopefully you can still see me. You got too many screens here.
I'm with you.
So I'm going to go ahead and present this really quick. Okay, so hopefully, can you guys see the WeVideo screen? Just give me a yes. You see it? Okay, yep. Fantastic. So let's say I wanted to export a video. I go ahead and I go into the edit. If you're using WeVideo, you know you have to then go to this finish. You have to finish that. And it's on that step that you'll see these options. So always change it to high def. Just make that. I wish there was a way for me to set that as the default, but you have to go click it. Down here, I have a lot of options because I'm the WeVideo admin. But you're going to see in here a few options. One is Google Drive, which I love to be able to export, and it's easy to export directly to your Google Drive. It just shows up in a folder called WeVideos, so that's easy. But you also have the YouTube option. So if I turn that on, you see they're just slightly highlighted here. And then I do need to make sure to mark video as public. You can share that exported video, which I'll show in just a second, but you can share that through WeVideo. Now it'll be in my Google Drive in the WeVideo folder, and it will show up in my YouTube channel. So if I go ahead and hit export, I'll change the name to this just so I have, you guys will see there's multiple in here, but I'll hit export. It's going to go through this process. I had a few people asking about how to shorten the time that this takes. It's not on our side. This is all handled by WeVideo on their servers, and they are getting a lot of use right now. So they have noticed a slightly slower render time than normal. Ways you can speed that up is using less effects, less transitions, and then the total duration of your clip. But right now, I'd say just be aware that it may take usually up to about 4 times the duration of your clips. So if it's 1 minute long, your whole video, know that it's probably going to take me 4 to 5 minutes for my video to export. And again, that's just an estimate, but as you go about that, you'll see that. Now, once this is done, if I go to the exports tab, and this one's not quite finished yet, but I'll pull up one that is finished. When you open this up, you'll see the video that you created. Now, I can share this video directly. I can't put it in Google Slides or anything, but you can share this link directly as long as the settings are set to public right here. If you see a little lock right there, that means it's locked. You share that with anyone unless you've given them permission. They cannot see it. So you have to make this public. Think of it as anyone with the link can view. There's no way to search for that video and find that video out on Google. So it's still, it's still private in the sense that only people you shared it with will be able to find it and see it. You also have that download option, and you have share to classroom. But again, even if it's locked right there and you share it to classroom, your students can't see it. So make sure that is marked as public, and then you can share it to your classroom. But the one thing that you probably won't see is there's nothing to indicate that this video is now on my YouTube channel. So you're like, well, where's the YouTube stuff? Where did it go, right? If you go to your YouTube channel, thought I had that open. And over on the left side, I go to your videos. So I just click on your videos. You're going to actually see that video. So this is the one that I've already exported. It's already here. If I want to go change the settings, the privacy settings, I want to make it more private, we can go in and edit those. But here's my video on YouTube. So easy way to just grab and export things directly to my YouTube channel. Hopefully that answers that question. Any other questions while I've got this up? Any other WeVideo questions that people have?
Thanks, Ryan. And I know you can contact Ryan. Ryan, if they have specific questions or get stuck or need to know where more training resources are, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
I would just send me an email. That's probably the best right now, just to reach out to me if you have a specific question or something you need. Also, we're doing those tech help sessions at 10 a.m. every morning. You can find those again on training.wsd.net. Every day I'm building more and more tutorials to share on there. So it's always helpful to see what you guys are asking, because then that helps me provide more material for you. So, but yeah, I would probably say just send me an email. Yeah. Probably the best way. And I'm not looking at the chat right now. I probably missed a ton of stuff. I just flying by.
Yeah, they're loving your stuff. We're going to try to pull a couple things out.
Ryan, can you show them again how to upload it to their Google Classroom?
Okay, sure. Yeah. So you can see this exported video. I'm going to go back to the dashboard because that's always gets a little confusing. On the dashboard, this is where you come in. You see some of your edits. You can go to your projects, which is kind of how you house your edits. They're contained in these projects you can share. But where you want to go is if you've already exported the video, you'll find it here. So any video that I've exported, here's my second video I just exported. I'll open that up, double click on it. And if you want to share it directly to your Google Classroom, you just click right here on this option, and then I would pick which class I want it to go to. And it will then post it in that class. So you just say, oh, I want it to go to the Riverdale group, right? What do I want this to look like? I would usually make this a material. Create material is just something to show your students. If you're going to make it an assignment, like if you just want to post this, unless the student turns something in or has to respond or do something, don't make it an assignment. You could also ask a question just like, hey, did you watch the video if you wanted? So whatever you want here, if I just want to make an announcement, hey, I made a new video, you can go watch it. There's different ways to do that, but you go ahead and click create material or whatever you want, hit go, and it will then post it, gives me the option to post it to my classroom. You'll see the link is already provided inside of Classroom. The key is just going and finding the video that you want to share there. and then you'll see that little classroom option right below.
Ryan, there's a question about a YouTube channel
Mm-hmm.
and accessing that. Don't you have to set that up? Do you have a video on how to do that?
Yes, in fact, that video that that Jen's talking about on training.wsd.net that we posted,
It's right there.
was how to set it up. Now, there's an option. You got to go create a channel, and so some of you, if you go to YouTube, you'll see it. You'll see it right here underneath. If you're logged in, give this a second to load. I am still presenting. Yeah, I am. Okay, just making sure. Right here, you'll see you logged into, you know, your Google account, but you'll click on that. On mine, I'm going to see your channel, but if you haven't set up the channel yet, it will say create a channel. And so a lot of times the things you want to go do, you want to create playlists or, you know, navigate inside of YouTube, you've got to create a channel first. So some of these things may not exist. You may not even see that it'll upload a video until you've created that channel. Right there.
Yeah, and plugging in training.wc.net is awesome. And then just hop on at 10 o'clock. You know, Everyday Tech has those tech sessions, and you can ask all of these questions there. And they've got a whole team of people who can walk you through getting it set up, and other people who are listening in to learn. So those are awesome sessions.
Yeah, and it looks like Brent just shared. Here's your channel. You can go to the YouTube Studio, which is kind of like a way to manage all your videos. You can even trim clips and add things to it. I mean, there's a lot going on in Studio. You can see how many students were viewing your videos, not necessarily specific students, but you can see how many people have viewed a video and compare what's going on inside there. So lots of cool things in YouTube. And of course, YouTube is the method we prefer most for sharing videos to a large audience. So,
Ryan, somebody did ask that. Ryan, somebody did ask that question: is what's the difference or benefit YouTube versus your Google Drive? So, do you want to address that?
Yes. So Google Drive. One thing that Google Drive does a little differently is it's not intended to be a video hosting. So actually, there's lots of people across the nation that are suddenly utilizing these videos and sharing them out to large groups. They're getting a limitation where it says, hey, this video has been played too many times and we're no longer allowing it to be viewed. Whereas YouTube is intended for that. Now, one of the other things that happens when you upload a video to YouTube, YouTube takes that file format, whatever it was, whether it was filmed on my cell phone or my video camera or whatever, and it takes it and compresses it and puts it in a way that can be viewed everywhere. So some of the things that we've seen, some strange behaviors, you know, students can't view a video that's uploaded to their Google Drive just because it was in a weird codec, a weird format, some other issues like that for sharing those videos to large audiences, and there's just some strange issues there. So YouTube, what YouTube does is it converts it, makes it a streamable format. Not only that, but it has multi-streams. So that means low bandwidth, it works great. People with high bandwidth, it looks good. So, you know, it's just meant for video streaming. A little side note while I'm talking about it is videos on YouTube do need to be approved. So the whole approver process, talking to your administration, if you're uploading videos, they can approve your entire channel. So the videos that you upload are all being approved. So things like that to be aware of, but definitely it is our preferred method is to create a YouTube channel and upload your videos there.
Great, thanks so much for popping in. I know that now that we're headed into this for a little longer, a lot of people have these questions. So we're going to encourage you to all of the more tech questions that we have on this list that we're not going to get to today, we're going to pass on to tech, and they can get that to them hopefully tomorrow at 10 for you. And if they don't, we'll try to address them next week. But we know everyone is interested, and we're so grateful for that support. So thanks for popping in so much.
We're here for that. So, you know, we're here for you guys.
Okay. I am gonna good. Okay. I'll come back here. All right, there are a couple of questions we want to make sure that we get to before we close out here today. We're really trying to keep this to an hour. So are we presenting the doc there now? Okay. So the link that Ryan was talking about of just getting started on YouTube is right here, setting up your channel and then uploading a video. So that's kind of the basics right there, and that's awesome. Our next question submitted was, what are the essential things we need to focus on to maximize student engagement? Engagement is kind of a funny word because sometimes it denotes doing a bunch of stuff, being entertained, maybe that entertainment instead of engagement. And we know as classroom teachers that that's not what we mean by that word, but sometimes that can be confused, by parents. And sometimes as we get thinking of engaging in a digital environment, we think, oh, wow, I just need lots of different apps and lots of different tools and experiences, and that will engage kids. In an online setting, that will frustrate kids. So we have some awesome tips here for you about what you could do to maybe have better engagement in your online classes.
I think in this way, maybe instead of engagement is participation. If we kind of think of it like that they're actually participating in what we're asking them to do.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. So this first one is just acknowledge student participation in online activities. A fellow shared with me yesterday that when she does a meet and when every student gets on the meet, she says hello and says that student's name, kind of like they're coming into your classroom and you're greeting them for the day. Just acknowledging that they're there is a big thing. That's what encourages them to come again next time, right? Is the feedback you get from them, and some are maybe a little more quiet. That's what they get that day is you talking to them in that way. Providing the two-way feedback. So if kids turn stuff in and they never hear anything from you, they're going to stop turning stuff in. I even think of myself as a student, like I wanted to know how I did, right? Even if I wasn't getting a grade on it, I wanted to know how I did. So meaningful feedback is going to be key. Again, our superintendent said, stop thinking about grading, start thinking more about this frequent feedback. Our fellows discussion again yesterday, there were a couple of fellows who said, gosh, we wish we could mandate that you had to do this many per day, because that was so important to them. And that's what they were seeing really build their online classroom, was that feedback. Building relationships with students and families, that's on or offline, right? Finding ways to interact synchronously and asynchronously. So we're in this for the long haul now. You've probably got to be doing both. So upping the interaction. I think making it doable too. One of the hardest things for my own kids in my household is when a teacher posts everything for the week all at once. It makes it's not any harder than what they would be doing, but just to see it all at once makes it overwhelming, at least in Google Classroom when it's 50 lines long. You might be able to post it by week and have it be organized and not look like that, but that in Google Classroom has been super overwhelming. I think finding a rhythm and sticking to it too. If you find things that work, hang on to those. Don't complicate it. Back to that organization. We keep mentioning the organization.
And just think that sometimes we think kids want something new and exciting every day, but they really like the simplicity of having a routine and something that is constant every day. And then they don't have to think about navigating all of the digital stuff because they've got that part down, and then they can really focus on the learning. So don't feel like you have to add all these fancy things and do new things every day. They really appreciate the simplicity of it all. And I want to back up just a little bit to relationships with families. This is such a great time and a great opportunity to build relationship with those parents. You've got time and you've got resources to do that in a different, back in our prior teaching, our previous normal, this is our new normal. We didn't really have a lot of time or opportunities to build relationships with parents. It was parent-teacher conference, or sometimes if a kid were in trouble, you know, and those are not good relationship building times. So just take advantage of that. I just want to throw that out there.
That's awesome. And just from a parent side, I know probably many of you are experiencing this. Every time a teacher does something that's new and exciting, it usually takes me getting involved. But if, you know, because I've got to do a different login or a different thing or get different materials. But if we're doing kind of our, you know, what's in our rhythm, my kids know how to access that already and don't need as much support from me. So I appreciate it from that side as well. So there are a couple of other tech questions here. Chrissy, did you have something? Sorry.
No,
okay. How to make Google Slides interactive. If you were looking for a way to limit printing and not have people print things out at home and then have to re-upload them to your classroom, which is kind of crazy. There's a quick video tutorial right here that I've linked to that shows you how to make what would normally be your worksheet the background of your Google Slides so it doesn't move around, kids aren't dragging it, and then how to put text boxes over top of that so it kind of becomes a fillable document. There are other ways to do that too. We've seen Nearpod coming up in the chat and some chatter about that. Nearpod's a great way to do that, and Cami is another great way to do that. But this is a way to just utilize a Google product and make it interactive. So Christy's typing some of the more tech questions that have come up. We don't want to hold you longer than an hour. Are we okay to go ahead and conclude? If you want to do the last one. Yeah, should we?
Next to last, sorry.
Okay, I was like, wait. Okay, this one. Tips for keeping a good work-life balance while working from home. Do you want to talk about physical space?
Yeah, that's tricky, and especially if you have little ones at home. So just having a physical space, I think that's important for kids and for us. You know, kids to do their schoolwork and for us to do our schoolwork as a teacher. So I would just recommend trying to find a space, a physical space, and then Jen's going to kind of add on to that with.
Well, I'm just thinking, awesome, amazing teacher in our district and facilitator, Kelly Horton, posted on her social media account. And I'm sorry, Kelly, if I'm putting you on the spot, but it was so perfect. It showed the little workspace for her kids at her house on day 1, and then what the workspace looked like on day 13. And it was so cute. The kids had made little forts and were working in pillows underneath the desks and things. So it's going to morph that having that physical space that we can make our own and kids can make their own is so important. The other piece of this, I think, I like to think of them as virtual fences. I know when I was teaching exclusively online and at home for one very exciting semester, if I left my laptop open or my Chromebook open on my kitchen counter and every time I passed by it, I was seeing everything happening in my online classroom, it wasn't good for me mentally as an educator or in my outside life. So I think of setting up those virtual fences. I'm giving myself from this time to this time to be in this space with no interruptions, and then making sure that happens. You know, whether that's arranging for, you know, childcare or turning off my cell phone so I'm not looking at social media, or so setting up those virtual boundaries for myself became the thing that really saved me. And then when I was home in my personal life, the same thing applied. I was not thinking about my online classroom because I needed a rest from that. Students might be emailing me at 11 o'clock at night, but I was not in that virtual space. And so I released myself from having to deal with that at that point.
Yeah, so I think those fences that Jen is alluding to, those barriers, but scheduling, you know, a physical space and scheduling, and just know that you're doing a good job. We're super impressed with all that you're doing, and we're just here to support. So we're happy to answer any questions. We'll be back next Wednesday, right, at this same time. So thanks for all you're doing, and keep up the good work.
You're amazing. Thank you.
Couldn't ask for anything better, could we?
Amazingness.